What is going on, everybody? I hope you are doing well. Today, we're going to be talking about Avalanche. This is a coin that I'm very bullish on. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot more conservative than a lot of the gaming cryptos and more speculative plays that I've been making videos on so far. But when I say conservative, for me, that's because it's in the top 20, top 15 of the coins, and it has so much potential and it has active utility. The market cap is already at 16, 17 billion-ish. And so that is a very, very large cap. And so it's very unlikely that these coins are going to just fall through the floor, especially because they've got actual use cases and stuff like this. And so for me, it's more conservative play than something that hasn't even been released yet. And it's just currently 100% fueled based on news. Okay. And so what I'm expecting from this coin realistically in the next 4 to 6 months, I would not be surprised if this did a 3x. That's kind of the ideal number I'm shooting for based on where it was a few days ago, or maybe even today, because it is at all-time highs. I do see it with so much potential. If we just compare it before we get started here to some of the competitors, Ethereum, again, there are differences and they're not necessarily direct competitors of these. Polkadot, Solana, all of these things. If we just take Solana at a $70.5 billion market cap, I see Solana growing, but that's a topic for another video. But it shows you that there is potential. And if there is a lot of use case, if lots of people begin adopting it and using it and utilizing the software and building apps on it, and that's what this does, by the way, it's a platform for people to build decentralized apps, or dApps for short. Then if it does take off, then it's really not out of the question to expect a 3, 4x, 5x potentially. And because it is in those top coins, although nothing is necessarily super safe, it is definitely a lot, like unbelievably amounts more secure and safe than something like a new gaming crypto that hasn't even been out yet and they just have an NFT marketplace or something like that. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video. And yeah, before we get into it, obviously this isn't financial advice. This is all just my opinion. Make sure you do your due diligence as always. Go and do your own research. Never invest in anything if you don't understand it, and never just take someone's advice off the internet, etc. Just do your own homework. Just use your brain, guys. So first thing I want to talk to you about is the supply, how they're operating their supply, because underlying coins, underlying all markets of things with utility, which you know I love. If there is utility, that is my favorite thing, because it shows that there is a use case, there's a community of people using it, and so it's going to be you're not going to have the market manipulation or susceptibility, I should say, to news and, oh my God, Elon Musk just tweeted this. Like, not going to be as susceptible to these things because there's more liquidity, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so supply and demand. On the left, we have Bitcoin. On the right, we have AVAX or Avalanche. So Bitcoin has a cap supply. Many of you will know this. There's a max supply of 21 billion. I think it's billion. It must be billion. Yeah, million? I don't know. Let's just have a quick look, just because this is going to annoy me. I know all of the veterans are going to be like, oh, it's obviously, bro. Like, how did you not know that? Yeah, okay, so it's 21 million, not billion. And so where was I? Here we go. And so that's going to be a cap supply. Similar to gold, there's only so much gold on the planet, and so that will keep it being fairly rare. However, with AVAX, like a lot of new coins are doing these days, is that they have a very clear burning process. Ethereum has this. And essentially, it means that over time, they're going to burn more and more of the coins. What does this do? It reduces the supply. And so if you imagine it in the Pokemon card example, everyone loves Pokemon cards. That's the given. That's the prerequisite. But because everyone loves it, as time goes on, as more cards get lost and cards become rarer and rarer and rarer, and they stop creating more and they start burning the old ones, the prices are going to rise because it becomes more in demand, more people competing, and so therefore the prices will rise. And so this is great because if we compare that to Polkadot, let's just get Polkadot up here. Not Podot, Dopot. How would you pronounce that? Okay, so Polkadot. So if we compare this to Polkadot, their supply grows by 10% every year. So in other words, 10% yearly inflation. So what that means is that every 7.2 years, the amount of circulating supply will theoretically double. Now, why is this relevant? Well, because it's basic supply and demand. The more supply you have, it's going to limit the amount of growth and limit the amount of price growth that we're going to see from the company. Now, of course, there are some workarounds, but that is the fundamental element of it. And so the ways that they do this is through transaction fees, creation of assets, creation of blockchains, creation of subnets. I don't like getting too technical into these things. I've seen a lot of mixed opinions on the transaction fee of burning AVAX through transaction fees and the pros and cons of that. However, overall, I don't really see this as a major issue. If you are a massive technician and understand all of this stuff to a crazy degree, feel free to let me know in the comment section below what you think and all of the different things that I may be missing. This is just an overview of what I am personally seeing. Okay. And so this is the first thing I think is very good. But underlying this, all of this doesn't matter, because if you have a company that makes, you know, I made quite a crude example of this on another video. I think it's on my other channel. You know, if you have a company that makes replicas of human feces, it doesn't matter how rare you make that product, no one's going to want to buy it. And so the value is going to be nothing. And so supply and demand doesn't work unless there is a vested interest or there is a reason for people to be interested in the first place. And so translating that into AVAX, what does that mean? It means we want to see more people using it, more apps coming out on this platform, more developers happy with using the platform. They like the way that it works. They like the products they're able to create through that platform. We want to see, in other words, a community growing around the platform. We want to see successful apps being built on that platform because it is all boosting it up. So the next thing is, what are people going to be doing recently? So this was something that was posted, I think it was yesterday, about layer 2 and multi-chain DeFi platforms see record inflows as Ethereum fees soar. What does this mean? Ethereum has gas fees to do transactions, and one of the major drawbacks of Ethereum in its current capacity is scalability, which essentially means how fast can you make transactions and how much does it cost per transaction. And a high gas fee, which is what Ethereum often does have, especially when obviously when the network's congested, which it is becoming increasingly, that's a massive issue. If someone's investing some money and they have to pay $100 in fees, it's just ridiculous. And so what that means is it means most people naturally are going to start looking for solutions, and so they're going to migrate to low fee networks. Okay, so like these are just example, Ronin Bridge, Polygon Bridge, etc. Okay. And this is important because people are going to start moving over to things like AVAX and stuff like this. And this has been happening for ages. This is nothing new. This is just, again, building a bit of a picture about what is going on. Now, the next thing, why Avalanche? What do I like so much about them? So what we've got here, remember what we were saying about Ethereum, one of the limitations being the speed of transactions and the cost of transactions. Well, first of all, Avalanche is a lot less expensive, a lot less gas fees. From the statistic I've seen, I think it's below 10% of what Ethereum's gas fees are. That's a massive improvement. That's not on this page, by the way, if you're looking for it going, where's this? What's he talking about? But yeah, so what we've got here, we've got the times for a transaction to be considered final. So optimistic rollups, 1 week, Bitcoin, 60 minutes, Ethereum, 6 minutes. This is Ethereum 2.0, by the way, so not the current Ethereum. Very interesting that. Cardano, 5 minutes, Polkadot, 60 seconds, and then 60 minutes to external change. Elrond, 51 seconds, and Avalanche, less than 1 second. You don't need to be a tech expert or understand all of the intricacies about how blockchain works to see a benefit there. If it does something quicker, that is most likely going to be a very attractive thing to users. And remember what we said, having interest from users, developers, these are going to be crucial things that influence how many people come to the platform. If you've got 10 people selling washing machines, all of them sell them for $100, but one guy sells it for, $95, they're all going to go to the cheapest washing machine. Or most of them will. Obviously, you're going to have the odd person that's going to get super lost in the technicalities of it. But generally, we're talking about mass adoption here. Okay, so next thing, we've got all of these benefits. Again, I didn't get too lost in this. This just goes over the benefits of these versus two competitors, Polkadot, Cosmos. And I didn't want to get too lost in all of the pros of Avalanche because nothing is completely golden. There is nothing that's perfect. Everything has pros, everything has cons. And two of the cons, or the major cons that I came across, were the user interface is pretty questionable to some developers that I've seen, and their opinions on it are just not really that friendly, but it's not terrible. It's just not as plug and play as something like, Ethereum or something like that. And the next thing was from a slightly unreliable source, which was from the Polkadot founder, Gavin Wood. And he said that Avalanche may have more chains. What that means is the Avalanche network works off multiple chains, which allows it to spread out essentially the congestion of transactions and therefore increase speeds. He says that what that does is it reveals a unfixable, keyword unfixable, flaw in terms of the security and how secure these chains actually are compared to things like Polkadot, where it is there's a lot more attention paid to the core and the central chain. And so this was important. Again, he's obviously going to be biased. He's going to exaggerate all of the things because Avalanche is a direct competitor. And from what I've seen, I've read a lot of things online that I don't really think it is a huge issue, because realistically, it is pretty secure. And again, if loads of people are using it, hopefully these things will be fixed. I need to look into that, in all honesty, a little bit more. But from what I've seen from the research that I have done, which is a pretty sizable bit of research, I don't see it being an absolutely devastating problem, because I see the upside incredibly outweigh the downside, in my personal opinion. And so let's look at a few of the other. Did I have another thing that I wanted to show you guys? So yeah, so just in terms of prices, we kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but the market cap, there's a lot of potential here. And yes, we're touching all-time highs, but remember, it's all relative. If we go back down to this kind of seeming, nothingness down here, we can see we still have these kind of bigger pumps and stuff like this. It's all relative. And so you may look at this and be like, oh, what the hell? But if we go to something like Ethereum, this pump over here, would have looked ridiculous. And then when we got to this same point again over here, around here, if you were buying here, you're like, oh no, maybe it's not good, because you're looking at it visually, but it's all relative. And then what happens? We go up. Why? Because the market potential is massive, and so the market cap is the only thing that I will mainly be looking at. Yes, it's always lovely to be able to spot things when they're down here or before they've even had a pump, would be amazing. But that's not always realistic. And so we have to be honest with ourselves about what is the most practical and what is going to be the most likely. And again, everything carries risk with it. But for me, this is something that I'm super bullish on. And to be honest with you, this is why my major holdings, my conservative holdings, because remember, I always, separate conservative from aggressive. So my conservative holdings, my biggest one is Ethereum, followed by Solana, followed by Avalanche, which is this, and then followed by Polkadot. Those are the 4 big ones that I am invested in. And then in terms of the more aggressive ones, I'll make another video on that, but a few of them are Altura, D-Race, what's it called? Sandbox. I'm a huge investor. I've got a massive bag in Sandbox, and Engine. I'll get the list out, because off the top of my head, my memory is far from perfect. So yeah, guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, like the video, normal YouTuber shit, and take it easy. If you'd like me to do any particular coin or cover anything in particular, let me know in the I say that almost every video. Let me know in the comment section, not the description below, unless somehow you manage to hack the channel and edit the description, but that's your call. Whatever, do your worst. And yeah, a little bit off topic as an ending there, but take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.